ignoring him until he gets his act together. Right? Now, so here's Demetrius Thompson, patent owner, chairman at Global Mobile Alert Corporation. Blah, blah, blah. Join my professional. Let's try to set the time I call to speak about a pullover to text brand. All right, so this is the message that the guy sends me. That he doesn't know me, but at least he's offered a premise of like, why should I check out this, right? He's being forthright and saying, hey, I'd like to connect you. Why, right? So this guy's doing some prospecting, right? And that's not a bad thing, but at least I've got a little more to work with as to why this guy want to connect with me. And I go check him out, right? Let's see, he's in LA, and I don't know. What do you guys think? Yes or no?
Let's see a summary.
Yeah, right. Let's see what else.
Well, he's certainly trying to sell you something.
Yeah, that's right. Well, he's photogenic. Yeah, he needs to. Right? Use of smartphones while driving remains high. This is telling me about his product. It's not telling me about him, right? And this is a story about why somebody should buy his product. So he may be good. He's got good videos that are in there. He does like his patents. But at least it's somebody, I can't see a downside on this. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to show you that. So I go back here. Now I'm going to accept. Now, after you accept the connection, I want to know, what do you do? Anybody have anything? So you click accept, and then what? And then nothing, right? Mm-hmm. Shame on you. Don't ever do that again. No smiley stickers if you do that.
Huh.
All right? So, and why? Right? I'm poking fun. I'm having a little fun, but why? Because you're wasting the opportunity, right? So if I'm going to add this guy to my network, right? Where's the quid pro quo? Great, somebody else is going to watch my stuff. But I might be missing an opportunity. I want to know why, right? I want to initiate, remember, engagement. That's today's word. All of this stuff, putting the right picture up, having a profile, trying to get the right people to follow you, it's to engage. It's not to be a time sink for your staff. It's who did we meet today? What did we learn that we didn't know yesterday? Right? Is there? Hey, we just found a guy that is looking. He's got money. He needs to invest in a foundation or a project or something. There's a bunch of reasons why. But if you don't ask, you don't get. Right? So I'm not just going to accept and say yeah. Right? I'm going to click accept, and I'm going to show you what I do on every. And I'm serious on everyone that I accept. Right? Send a message. Right? Because I just connected. This guy's going to get alerts that KP accepted your request. Right? Great. So I'm going to say, hey, Demetrius, nice to connect. What brings you to my profile today? Okay? So, what am I doing in this?
Initiating conversation.
Initiating conversation, right? I'm trying to get this guy. Guy wanted to reach out to connect to me. Great, I'll connect with you. But I want to connect. If I'm going to connect, let's connect, right? Hey Demetrius, right? It's a little disarming. It's not so formal. It's not, Mr. Thompson, blah 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 blah. Because that's not who I am, right? I'm never even Mr. Thompson. It's a pleasure to connect with you, right? You have to find your own voice, and I can set the tempo right here when I connect with you. So yes, nice to connect, a little pleasantry. I'm a pleasant kind of guy, right? But I want to know what brings into my profile today, because there's something that happened today that made this guy click that. I want to connect with this guy. Is it I'm looking for an agency, or I need somebody to do some consulting, or it's something, right? It may just be, I don't know, LinkedIn suggested I should connect with you, and I'll take that too. But I want to know why. Right? So imagine, right, if you went through and all those hundreds of people that can't wait to connect with you, and you asked everyone that says, hello, it's a pleasure to meet you. What brings you to my profile today? I wonder if there's any opportunities that you could discover. Right? So I'm going to send this, and this is all I want to say, because I just want to initiate, I want to engage, I want to start something with the guy. Now, I'll tell you that I get probably 80% people will send me a message back. Right? That's pretty good. So I know out of those 80 people who are like, oh, well, I know, I got one that says, I was in our Duquesne alumni network, and it suggested that you're somebody that I should connect with. Great, I'll take that. Right? Add me. We went to the same school. Maybe there's something down there. I've had other people that said, we're reviewing agencies to help us with their communications, or it helps to have experts in marketing communications in my network when I have a question or something, but at least I know why they came, and that gives me something to work with. right? So Demetrius is going to come back and say, and is going to give me some reason that says why it connected, right? And he said, you know, so I will read his communication back, and I will respond back. And at least with a little once and back, you know, if there's something to continue the conversation with, I'll continue. If I read that it isn't, you know, I'll just be polite and say, well, great, that's, you know, it's nice to know, you know, good luck with that, and I look forward to, you know, seeing your future posts. But something, right? Not just nothing, right? And that's the point that I want to make with this, right? Now, there's the flip side. This is when you go out to connect. There's the other thing, right? Or you want to go out and try and find people by job titles or by geographic zone, right? People that are in your community that you haven't met yet that can be of influence or contribution, right? So you can go out and search people. So when you find, everybody know how to do a search on LinkedIn, right? If you're on LinkedIn, please go to the search, where you go to search, right? I'm going to show you. It's cleverly disguised up in this thing titled search box, right? Now, you can search all these different things, but here you can search by, by people. Actually, here, I'm going to cheat and use the advanced one, because I want to go by job title. This is one of the most underused tools, right? And if anybody else sees it up on the top, go ahead and click advanced, which you see over on screen 2. You're over here. On the other ones, all the way go up to the top. Don't click accept unless you're going to send them a note. Who's over on screen 8? I know, but you have to send them a message. You can't accept without sending. Oh, you wait. Okay.
Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome, my friend. Okay. So now, what you can do in it for keywords, first thing, last thing, title is the one I will look at. What are the titles that would be helpful for your group if you were looking out? Is there any job titles that would be specifically helpful? Nurses. Nurses. Okay. So let's take a look.
Here's how to prevent them. Call 1-866-NO-ATTACKS. w.noattacks.org or call your doctor.
There you go. There's a list of nurses. Right? Now if you want to put in
the ad council.
Zip code.
w.noattacks.org.
What's your zip code?
People are find opportunity for your
2231. You can refine
work
the
a
search,
picture, but people
and you can do even within 50 miles.
you put in place to make determine future
There you go.
future triumphs, future
So this is one of those ways that you can
Greatness.
find business people that you don't know already.
so excited.
Right? And
But
you can
people
put in
really
any different
are.
combination. If you run a search already, do a search for a job title
Yeah,
and
our
your zip
experts
code
can power
and see what you get
healthcare.
up.
Visit
see what you find.
rons.healthcare.com.
Okay, don't worry about keywords. I just wanted to look for job title and zip code. Right? That's what we're seeing. And see what we find over here. Right? And this is the way you have hundreds of millions of people. Now I know a lot of us are in geographic zones that we only service a certain radius. But that's where you can use the radius for 25, 50. Dr. Beck, you have a question?
I just went to advanced and I thought I would develop a search, so I pressed search.
Okay, so yeah.
30,000 connections.
Yeah, well you've got a lot here. Okay, so
Could you explain that?
yeah, you want to go over on the left here again, and you want to fill in 2 fields right here, Dr. Beck. Title. So just put doctor in here.
Where?
Right over on the left here. If you see on one screen where it says title.
Under last name or title?
Yeah, right in here.
Can I ask you, I'm asking you what did come up.
Okay, so what you're trying to do, it's telling what degree of connection you want to search within. Right? First connection is you've already connected to them. Second is you both know somebody, that's the same person, and then third is you're 2 removed from somebody.
So when it says group, how would the system?
So group members is if
figure out who the groups are that I would be linked to,
So-
and all the groups they're linked to?
all the groups that you're in already, that you're a member of, it will search that as well. Okay? So this whole search form, you can play with all these different criteria, but a great place to start is just by the title in the area that you're working with. You know, how helpful would it be to find, other foundations within a 50-mile radius, right? Like other executive directors of foundations that you're not aware of yet, right? That you might find new grants, right? You may be able to find, other community organizations, right, or leaders that you just haven't partnered with yet. Whereas you may be able to find organizations throughout the rest of California that you just like, oh, we didn't know they're doing the same thing, or they're going to do something the same month. When you start trying to get build the community bigger than your own. Right? So how many people have used this in the past? Okay. Leah, I would expect that you would. I find this to be one of the best tools on LinkedIn because we don't know everybody that we need to know yet, right? So this is how the process works. You create a good profile that represents you and your business. You create a company page that represents your business, and those two get linked together. Now imagine, Walter, I know that you, how many leaders are in your organization besides yourself? How many? About 10, right? So everybody should have a LinkedIn profile, right? Then look at that. So here's how the mechanics are. I'll go to the board over here, right? So you have your network, and then you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The company's in the middle. Everybody's linked to this, right? And every one of those connections, right? It goes out to, there's 300 here, 500 here, and 1,000 here, and it exponentially goes out. So when you do something here for the company, and all of your leaders share it as a status update, look at how many people now got your message. It's very, very much exponential. Dr. Beck.
So I just searched, doing what you said, I just searched free clinics.
Uh-huh.
And
Well, I asked you to search for a title, doctor.
No, but I chose keywords, and I ended up with 125 results.
Okay.
Now, the top people in that list are all people I know.
Uh-huh.
Now, as I go lower, for example, Mark Cruz,
Uh-huh.
Principal, Free Clinic Solutions, I don't know that person,
Okay.
but it says one shared connection. So does that mean that when I do a search for a topic or nurses or doctors or whatever you said, that all the people who are going to come up will somehow be connected with us?
Yeah, there's
Or
usually,
There
they
has
show
to
that.
be some connection
Yeah.
for them to come up.
Correct. So click on that where it says one shared connection, please.
Yes,
And that'll show you the person you have in common. So you're entered here.
perfect. Thank
Right,
you.
so no, don't go anywhere yet. I'm going
Yeah.
to suggest that you do something. So if this is somebody that you'd like to connect with, here's a perfect example. You found somebody in the list. You don't know. Maybe you have somebody in connection, in common. Maybe you don't. Right. But what you would do next, Dr. Beck, is if this looks somebody you'd like to connect with, you go ahead and click the connect button.
Right.
Right. And then I would send them a note and says, this is doctor, or no, you say,
Well, I think the first thing I would do is I'm going to open their profile and read about them and
Yeah,
see what
yeah,
their
we're making the
organization
assumption-
is.
we're gonna
But
make the
then if I
assumption that
like
somebody
it,
you'd
then
like-
That's exactly what I would do.
correct, right? Now you're going to send them a note, and it's going to be very safe. But if you go ahead and click on that, just on the connect.
Oh, no, I'm not going to click on connect yet. I'll
No,
just
no,
want to
well,
check out who he
okay.
is. But thanks.
Yeah. So this is how this works. So when you get to somebody that you want to reach out to, right? I'll show you here just as a sample, right? This one's set here. Where do we go here? On this one. So I want to send them a note. That's what they just do, the auto connect, right? So when you go to connect, there you go. It's going to pop up the screen. It's going to say, how do I know this person?
You can have my name, I know her.
All right. So you can figure out, colleague. You have to figure out where you're from, or you can say, other. Right. So you get this teeny little space to write some copy in, and I can't remember. I think it's like a 240 character count or something, but it's just enough to send a little note. Right. This is the other place that I think that you can make a very big impact on the people that you know. Right. You send them a note. Right. What types of things would you send? So if you found somebody that say, wow, I'd really like to be connected and get to know this guy, what type of message might you think you might send to this gentleman or this lady? Okay, so I think this is all you need to do because this is a very low barrier. It says social network, right? So people are expecting to be able to connect, right? So it's not a big deal when somebody says, oh, I'm looking to connect, right? I may say, let's pretend it's another executive director of a foundation, right? You'd say, I'm Ms. Sasaki, my name's Jorge, I'm the executive director of Bayside Community, and we serve people in our community to advance health and wellness. I noticed your organization does the same. Please consider adding me to your LinkedIn network, right? Now, what does that say to that person? It says, hey, this guy seems like a nice guy. He's in my space. We have common interest. So it's kind of an impulse thing. So why wouldn't they connect, right? And that's how you can initiate contact with people that you don't know already that you should know. Okay? So there's two ways. You have those incoming ones that you check them out before and you initiate conversation. And then the ones that you wish that you had. This is all that you have to do. It's not any harder than this. Just make sure that when they come to check you out, and they will, that you give them something to properly evaluate you, and you look like the leaders and the professionals that you are, right? Both for your company and for you. So more than likely, I would think you're going to get a better than 80% acceptance rate with something like that, because if it makes sense, everybody's here to build their network, right? They're just looking for a reason of why, right? So give them the reason, right? I'm an executive director, I'm in our space, we do the same thing. Who wouldn't accept that, right? So that doesn't let you off the hook though. So once you see that they have connected, then you have to go, thanks for accepting my connection, right? I just ask, what are you working on today? That's all they ask, right? Because people like to talk about themselves and projects, just like we all like to talk about the work that we're doing together, right? So, and what's that do? That's going to tell the gentleman that, like, oh, this guy wants to chat, right? I wonder, not only did he reach out to me, but there's some purpose. He wants to know about my organization. Just like you said, I'd like to learn more about your organization. Now you have, even though it's just an asynchronous social discussion, now you've got a new contact that you didn't have before this happened, right? So imagine if you did this on a weekly basis, how many new people that you could meet, Walter. I mean, we could start, you might have to be one of our experiments, Walter. We'll start from zero and see how many people that we can get you connected to in a short amount of time.
I'm on platinum today.
Yeah. Thank you. So, questions, please, on all this.
I was about protocol. I was going to ask, I mean, because you just mentioned it with LinkedIn, but also like Facebook and Twitter. Like, we always do like, thanks for following us. I mean, or I usually do it with Twitter because it's easier to track. But I mean, do you have rules for protocol for?
Yeah. So Twitter's another one we'll take a look at here. Look at our Twitter account.
Can I ask you something about endorsing, though?
Yes, you can.
If people send these things, they've endorsed you, and I say, oh, that's nice. And
Yeah, let's understand the difference. Before that, we go here on profiles real quick. Right, so there's two things. How many people have been asked to do an endorsement? Right, I'm sorry, a recommendation, right? Would you please write me how many people have been asked to write a recommendation on somebody you have no idea what they do? Right, I get them. I get like some people that are on my network, and they're like, yeah, I'd like you to ask, write me a recommendation. I'm like, about what? I've never worked with you, right? So you get some people that just, like, I think that they found the recommendation button and they just like, oh yeah, I'll just ask everybody, and then some people give me one, right? But the recommendations, yeah, it's in the early years, any veteran LinkedIn people here, right? So you remember like we used to see the early years, right? You read like these guys would get awesome recommendations, right? And you go and look at the guy who gave him the recommendation, and he gave the other guy an awesome. So they used to trade awesome recommendations, right? So yeah, because I always go check them out, and I was like, oh, hey, I'll write you one if you write me one, right? So I actually read them, and you got to look at it a little bit. It's not so much as it used to be, but those recommendations display down here. So which is different than these are endorsements. Okay, so recommendations are here. They're things where, like, my buddy Harvey, has said, Kevin and his team have quickly grasped the essence of what we are, about companies so and so, and you can see all the recommendations. And this is where they're displayed on your profile. And this is great because it's people saying, hey, this person is good at what they do, they did what they say, hey, they've always been there, whatever wonderful things they're going to say about you. But this carries a lot of weight in LinkedIn, right? So when somebody, when you have a good recommendation or a good working relationship with somebody, request a recommendation, right? Because this reflects on how well you've done your job, right? And people read this stuff, right? What else can you do? Once you get a recommendation, what else could you use this for, right? You could use it on your website, right? You could take these things and say, on your leadership profiles and say, about this person, this is what other people say about this person. It's third-party credibility, right? They're endorsing you because it's not just, this is what I do, and I do it really well. You have all these people saying, she does this job really well, right? You could use it in email marketing. You could use it in social media. So again, this is types of content that you can repurpose for different things. So that's why it's important, right? Not only does it reflect well on you as a person, but you can use it for different things when you need it, right? Now that's different than endorsements. Endorsements, how many people get these little, they almost seem like pop-ups. Every time you go to visit somebody, here, and I'll show you what I mean. Right, you go to visit somebody, I don't even know who this is, and then you get these pop-ups on the top. Do you want to endorse somebody for all these things that you don't know that they did? I think we're running a little slow here.
If somebody writes you a recommendation, because I got an email where somebody wrote a really nice recommendation, what do I do with it to make sure it's on my profile?
You have to accept it. There'll be a little system prompt. It'll come in your inbox and say, do you want to accept this invitation? Now, how many people get this big obnoxious blue thing every time that they're on LinkedIn? Right? Like this whole blue box, the biggest pain in the butt that it could be. And it comes up on any time you visit somebody because they're trying to prompt you. Oh, do you want to endorse this person for this? Do you want to endorse this person for this? And I don't know if there's a way you can shut it off.
There isn't, but there's two schools of thought about it. Some people think it's just garbage. It's just, it's a lot of noise, and then other people really find it's helpful for other people to say, I know she has experience in this.
Right.
I find it annoying because often it's sometimes people I maybe have just met and I don't know, so I skip. So I'd rather write that recommendation for someone if they ask me to, versus doing that because these don't carry as much weight for me personally.
Right. So where are these coming? So there's a little bit of thought behind it. So let's talk about where they are. So I find them to be problematic as well. They also serve a purpose, right? So if there's somebody that that you want to endorse, and that just means like, yeah, I think this person is good at their job, without having to write a whole recommendation. These are helpful, but it gets to be a pain in the butt because even when you click this, right, they want to pop up. They usually pop up one, for like other random people. But where it makes a difference, I'll show you on the profile, here's where the benefit is, I think, Leah, is that when people come to check me out, right, and they want to see where I've been endorsed for, right, and I tell people I'm good at social media and marketing and all these things, so other people are saying that I'm good at it too, right? So now again, it gets a 99 mark. Here, I've got, how many people? 322 recommendations for social media marketing. So if you didn't know me and you came to my profile and 322 people said that and endorsed me for social media marketing, would you believe that I'm good at social media marketing? Yes. Come on, 322 people are gonna lie? Right, maybe I can hustle a couple fake recommendations, right? But 322 people, right? Now, where I think this is important for you, or the opportunity is, what do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known for fundraising? Do you want to be known for public service or policy, right? All right. You want to add these skills to your profile, and those are the things that get served up when people come to check you out. And then as your network says, oh yeah, well, I know she does fundraising, right? I know she does public speaking. You get endorsed for those things. So there's one thing to say, say for yourself that I'm very good at this, my skills are such and such. But when you have all these people in your community and your network saying that you're good at that carries a lot of weight, right? And that's why I think these are important, right? Some of it seems a little game, and it is kind of a pain in the butt on the front end of it. But when you get that, I find that there's a bit of reciprocity to this. When you endorse a friend or a colleague, and it says, oh, Diane has endorsed, Tom for public speaking, right? So Tom gets a note that says, oh, Diane has endorsed you for public speaking. What do you think Tom does?
Endorses you back.
Endorses you back. Okay? And that's kind of the game, a little bit of the back and forth. And yeah, it's a little bit of a game, but it's a bit of a quid pro quo. You see it's over here on screen 2. You scroll back up on screen 2. Gretchen, I think that's you. Scroll back up to the top. You just pass where yours were. And down a little bit to show where your endorsements are. There you go, right? Skills and expertise. So when you add that skill, your skill, when you list that you have these skills, that's what gets served up, and that's how you can build that. Now, you may get some that you don't want to get known for. Like, for instance, for some reason, mine got added that I know SEO, search engine optimization, right? I know enough to be dangerous, but I don't want to be known as an SEO guy. So I deleted it off of my profile, right? I pruned that off because I don't want to get known as that guy. Some people had me for like CRMs and all this other stuff. I'm like, it just didn't make sense to me. So I deleted it. Yes, Gretchen?
Okay, good. I have to delete psychotherapy.
Okay, so here we go. Let's show you how to do that. You are in most endorsed for. If you scroll to the very top and go edit my profile. Okay, scroll down, please, all the ways to skills. Can you go? There you go. Edit. And there you go. Just check out. Just X the ones that you don't want. There you go, and then click save. And that's all that you have to do to edit this stuff. Okay. So, yes, Diane.
I'm sorry. Thank
No,
you so much.
thank you so
This is
much.
great.
Thank you. All right, question, yes.
I haven't done a lot with my profile, but it says I'm in the greater Los Angeles area.
All right, on screen 11?
Yeah, and I'm really not.
Yes.
I'm in Imperial County, so how is, I don't think there is a category specifically for Imperial, but,
Yeah,
I'd
so
rather-
that's going to be, you have to go into edit your profile. And then you're going to have to worry about trying to, get that, you either have to put this, you might have to cheat the zip code a little bit as well, right, to get it in there. So so other questions about LinkedIn here, because I want to make sure that we understand how this works, right, and that you look at these components, because again, on your profile, what is it? You have a square picture on your profile. On your company page, you have one banner, right, and you can put other banners, and then you have the little logo. But again, you have the square one from Facebook, so you get to use that all over again. Most of that copy lives on your website. Even from your management or your leadership page, that gives you something to work with on your LinkedIn company profile, right? On your LinkedIn profile. So we start using these things in conjunction to create new opportunities and meet new people. Okay. So where do you have questions about LinkedIn? There's two more things I want to make sure that we cover today before we break.
Creating a company page is on, like, if we have a UCSD free clinic page, is that my company page? So do I have to go find it, or because I'm afraid to create a new one?
Yeah, so if you have a company, if you think you have a company page already, right, you want to link to that one. And that's one of the common mistakes that I see frequently is that it says on your LinkedIn profile that you work at a place, but unless you click, like you can click on it and it goes to the company page, it's not linked together.
Right.
Right?
So you're saying I go to it on my
So you go, so you have to go, go find, you can find your company page. I'll tell you, let me troubleshoot that in a bit.
Later. Yeah, that's
All
fine.
right, so there's two things that I want to talk about here, right? Because we've talked about creating social media profiles, right? And there's Twitter, there's Pinterest, there's YouTube, there's Google, there's all these other different sites, right? And most of them have the same construct, right? There is a name for it, for that profile. There's a picture, there's some copy, and there's some content. So no matter which of these social media that you're using, they're not too dissimilar from one another. And that's what I'm trying to cover in a very short amount of time today. So that gets you into trying to decide which of these makes sense for you, right? And there's a couple different ways that you can go looking at this. I'm going to share a link to you about an article on the community site. There's two articles that I'm going to share with you. Let me get to them. Okay, so this is an article you can reference later. It's called Satellite Marketing, an Intro to the Process. So, what this diagram does, it's a really cool looking way for me to show how you prioritize social media. Okay, at the center of this diagram is your prospect. Right, your prospect is sometimes going to be your consumers, the people that you help. Sometimes it's going to be people that you're trying to attract to your organization. Right. But no matter whom they are, right, it's from their perspective. They're looking out. So about whoever you're trying to get in touch with now, you have all these different circles, right? So earlier I talked about social networks and video streaming and blogs and all the other different types of social media that we have, right? There's a couple ways that you have to think about this, right? Think about this as, right, what are the things that are closest to my prospects? Like Diana, for instance, the people that you work with, is there a social media network that's more prevalent or that you get more activity with, or you think that they're on more than another? On Facebook, right? So where I have S, that's for social media network, right? So Facebook is something that you use a lot, right? So in this diagram, I'm going to make it bigger and I make it closer to the prospect because you probably have more content and it's something that they would use more often, right? Now, on the outside, on here, I think, remember we talked about slide share and PowerPoint sharing, right? You probably don't do a lot of PowerPoint sharing, right? So that's something that we have that's more of a tertiary on the outside. That's not something that we would use as often. But when we look about who we're trying to get to, just think about what social media do you think that would people use to get to us, right? And you make a very short list because, as Amat said, you can't be everywhere, and you don't want to be everywhere. Because when you create a site, that becomes a liability for you. That's something that you have to update. That if something changes, you have to make sure that that gets changed. And if you don't use it on a regular basis, then it's like, oh, it doesn't look like you're very social because you haven't updated it in 9 months, right? So you try to use these things where you think people are going to be close to and use them in kind of a right amount. So it's in just selecting that process. So what this article, I think, will help you do, you can read it with your team, it's a simple process to go through selecting the right social media, right? So let me show you a couple of the highlights here. Here's the steps, right? And obviously we can't do everything in one day, but it starts with identifying your target markets, right? Know who you're trying to speak with and where are they, right? And you want to be where the conversations are. You have two parts. You're either going to try and move people to your website or to your social, or they're going to be there already and you're going to have conversations. We're good till what, 12:30? 12, oh, okay, I'm sorry. All right, I thought it was 12:30. All right. So this will talk to you a little about identifying your target markets, a little bit on strategy, and Gretchen, or I think you'd asked, so who had asked about connecting, I think Christina talked about connecting some social media together, right? This instance, what I'm showing here is that your LinkedIn company page can be connected to, and YouTube can be connected to your website. You have the ability to integrate social media. So you do something in one place, it shows up in 10 places, or 5 places, or 3 places. So the efforts about bandwidth that we were talking about earlier, you can help compensate for bandwidth. Okay. You develop your satellites, as I call them, you deploy them, and you participate and you engage, and then you measure them on an ongoing basis. Right? So again, this document, if you just search for satellite marketing, will provide a process that you and your team can go through and start trying to figure out what makes sense for you to do, where you should be, where you shouldn't be, right? The second thing I want to show you here as we wrap up is just to have some sort of plan. Right? Planning how your business communicates to your target market. This will teach you how to do a basic schedule. Now, I know it looks all very impressive and cool because that's what we do. We make stuff look impressive and cool. But all this is a simple Excel spreadsheet that says, this is what we're going to do Monday, this is what we're going to do Tuesday, this is what we're going to do Wednesday. So what it does is it makes sure that you're not investing more resources than you want to. You can maybe say, hey, we have an hour a day. We're going to just do an hour on Monday. We're going to promote our event on Wednesday because the event itself is on Friday. We want to do things in advance, right? So these are some of the other things that you can do in addition to developing developing the social media platform is just the beginning. You have to have profiles, right? You have to have content. You have to have people, and the goal is to engage, right? So if you can make smart decisions about the social media that you choose and come up with some sort of a plan and a schedule, you could be much more effective. Okay. So I know we're going to wrap up. I've got one last thing to tell everybody there. If you want to know more about this please take a look at the community. Take a look at what we're doing at Alliance, right? We keep saying that, we advance health and wellness. The grants that Alliance provides is a start of what I think Alliance can help your organizations do. Look to what we're doing at social media, learn from what we're doing from social media, and where you have questions, ask, and we will tell you what we're doing, right? You have all the files that we use. You have links to all of the social media so you can see examples of it, and you have us as a resource. If you'd like to ask questions, please ask questions. Right? Thank you. I know we're running a little long. There's there's always so much to cover in this workshop. I thank you very much for your participation and your attendance today. Thank you.
Hey. Great job.
Appreciate you staying. Karen wrapped it up. I will be sending a survey monkey to evaluate the workshop. Please send it back. Anybody that was in the Imperial's Affordable Care Act, I did send the same. And I don't know who has sent it back, but if you haven't, please send it back, because that's the only way we're going to be able to know, how we can improve and what other things are out there that we can assist with as an organization. So, again, we are going to reimburse for parking, so we will need for you to mail us most of the parking lots require that you put your little receipts on the dashboard. So when you go back to your offices, put it in the mail right away, and we'll issue each one of you a check. We need the ticket in order for us to issue the check, so please send it back. Again, I can't thank you enough, especially the Imperial County grantees that traveled this far out to come and do this workshop. I hope it was very helpful. Please remember, Kevin is a resource. He did talk about that book. He will be signing it if you're interested in it. It's a very interesting book that I'm sure you would enjoy reading. It's only $25. Is that right?
$16 on Amazon now. Yeah,
Even a better deal. So
it's
out here if you want to go ahead and purchase that. And again, any event, anything that you got going, anything that you need for help, just send it to us. We'll send it directly to Kevin, and we'll help the organization as much as we can with our social media. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and safe travels for those that went back to the valley.